but you mentioned something about psychedelics and Mary Jane.
Man.
All right, let's get into it.
What do you want to know? Well, let me tell you what.
Tell me. What
So-
have you been doing?
Well, I haven't been doing a damn thing, so don't set me like what I've been doing. Like, so the greatest night I've had was just, man, this is good stuff. So, you know, it was November of 2021. In fact, I had gone to my daughter, and I did a lot of traveling with my daughter. She lives out here, and she's the reason I moved out here. And when I retired, you know, we did a whole bunch of cool stuff. And one of them was November of 2021. I was a brown belt, and I thought, I'm going to go compete at the Worlds in Las Vegas. I went to World Championships, and we'll just leave it there. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. But I did a lot of competing as a brown belt when I retired. I was traveling and just doing these little tournaments and taking my daughter and having a good time, man. And so I went out to, we went to Vegas, and let's just say I was got my ass handed to me pretty quick.
All right.
No shame in my game, as
Dude,
I say.
I mean, at least you did it.
Oh yeah. So after that, we went out to Utah, to Zion, and was out there with some friends, and we were hanging out, and one of my friends says, "Hey man, you wanna try some shrooms?" I'd never done it, and I'd done a lot of research on it. Like, I'd read about it and watching podcasts as well, and actually the benefit of it and what it did. I was really intrigued, and I said, sure. And people always said, if you're going to experiment with it, just be sure you're in the right settings, the right environment, around the right people. And so I took a cap off a shroom, and they were like, that's not going to do anything to you. And I took a stem, and they're like, that's not it. And the next thing you know, I just kind of did let's just say a handful. And
you don't know how many grams?
Well, I don't know what, but man, I went on a journey, man.
Oh,
and
man.
So I did the shrooms, man.
When people tell me I ate a handful, dude, I'm like, that could be 4 grams, that could be 10 grams. How much did you take?
So this is so in my research, I went through the purge. It's called the purge. So I'm like, what's this about, man? And the really cool thing about this is I was with 3 other people, 2 very good friends, and my daughter. I shared this experience with my daughter, and it was awesome. And we were out in the middle of nowhere, Utah, in this beautiful house in this vast landscape, and it was just gorgeous. However, at this ruins, and kind of everybody gets in their own little world, and I'm sitting there going like, what's this all about? What's the big deal? And then, like, the best part of this is, like, my daughter wanders off, my friend of mine wanders off, her boyfriend's there, like, and then my daughter comes up to me and she's like, Dad? I'm like, yeah, what's up, sweetie? I'm fucking tripping, man. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but why don't you just sit down? You know, and there's all these windows in this house. They just windows on one side of this house, and they just look out into this landscape. And so I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I'm going like, oh shit. Oh shit. I'm just going like, no, I'm like, get this out of me. I don't want this in me, man. I don't want to do this.
Oh no, you started freaking out.
Oh, did I freak out?
That's not good.
I just went, sat down, and I just started seeing the carpet, like, going like this. I'm going, oh man, oh shit. The carpet's moving. And it, like, this is the thing, like, then the carpet just forms into King Neptune from the sea. And I'm going, oh my God, there's King Neptune, man. This muscular dude, right? And he had the crown on and this long hair and this beard. And all of a sudden this is the theme of the night. There's this beautiful woman in his arms. Gorgeous, voluptuous woman. And Neptune's not looking at me, and I'm looking at this, like, knowing nobody else can see this. And I'm going like, oh my God. But the woman looks at me, and she's looking at me, and she just turns sinister, demonic, evil. And I'm like, oh man, this ain't good, you know? So I'm like, I don't want to do this. And one of my friends was like, channel it different. What does channel mean? You know, just look somewhere else.
You gotta
focus.
just accept
yes,
it. Yeah.
There is the key word, accept it.
Yeah.
So after this, just accept it. So then my daughter goes, everyone's kind of off in their world. And so I went and sat next to my daughter, and all these suppressed memories, these thoughts of being a dad just come to fruition. And I break down and I just start bawling. I'm curled up in this chair, my size, just in this bawling, talking to her about, you know, where I failed as a father. Just these emotions are coming out, and I'm crying, and I find out that's called the ego death. the ego death trip. And she's like, it's cool, Dad. And she's like looking up, and I'm like, okay. And I'm just going, oh man. And then all of a sudden I go, oh man, I'm gonna throw up. And I run into the bathroom and I throw up. And we had a big meal that night. And this is about 10:30 at night. Okay. But earlier in the evening, we had a big meal and I just throw up all the mushrooms. None of the food. And the mushrooms got out. And I learned later that the mushrooms did their job. That they left the psilocybin in me. And they were like in the toilet going, enjoy the trip, man. Ooh, you're gonna have. And I flushed them, and I went back down. I went back out in the living room, and I'm just laying there, and we had music on, and I could feel, and it was like old school Michael Jackson or old school funk and disco going, and I could just feel it. And I was just like, man, I could feel the bass and the drums. And I said to my daughter, I said,
like you feel the beats going through
you. I can feel it going through me. And everybody's in the world, and this is maybe about 11:15 now. And my daughter, I said, sweetie, she's like, yeah, Dad. I go, I want to dance. I want to move on. She goes, then dance. And all night long, dude, I just like, I accepted it. Like I wasn't going to fight. I couldn't fight this thing, what was going on. And my mind was just opened up. Like I was on the edge of the universe at one point, like in their backyard. I was just staring out into this terrain going like, and then all of a sudden, like I'm the universe. And just so many different things were happening, man. So many different things were happening. And it was the greatest night of my life.
I love hearing these stories. I wish you knew how much you took. I think
I took a lot.
Paul Stamets calls 4 grams the hero dose, or 6 grams hero dose. It's either 4 or 6. No, I think 6 grams the hero dose. I think they say like 2 grams is where you'll have an experience. And 4 grams is when the demons come out. Ooh. 4 grams is when you got to face your demons.
I used to tell the story, and I would get very, very emotional because something happened towards, I guess, the end of the trip as the sun was coming up, and I was sitting in this chair, and everybody's.
They kept you up all night, huh?
Oh, I was dancing all night. I saw all kinds of things, and I was looking out these windows, and my daughter is in the room next to me now, and there's a wall. If I get a little choked up, bear with me.
That's all right.
And I'm looking out this window. And I'm looking up and I see this face in the sky, and I'm like, and the sun's coming up, and it's a beautiful morning out there. There's these mountains in the background. We're overlooking these trees. It's just beautiful. In the entire sky, I see this face, and I'm just like, and it's looking down to what would be its right, and like it's looking through the windows. And my daughter's on the other side of this wall. She's in this bedroom, and all I can say to myself is, as I'm sitting there and there's tears coming back, and I'm going, and I'm not bawling like I was in the beginning of the trip, but I'm looking up like, that's got to be the face of God. That's all I'm feeling. Like that's the face. It was a very stoic, very solid, it was like, it's got to be the face of God, man. And it's in the entire sky. It's like these, and I'm just like watching this out this window, sitting in this recliner. And I remember the song that's on. It's the Flock of Seagulls, man. Space Age Love Song is on. And I'm just watching this, like, and it's looking down, what presumes to be looking through the windows where my daughter's sleeping. And I felt like God said, remember how the trip started, just these dealing with being a father. And I felt like God was saying, I got her, and I got you too. And enjoy your life. And it was just such a profound moment for me, and I was just like, wow. And then I like look over on the windowsill, and there's a planet that looks like a devil looking at me. I'm like, hey, it's just sitting there watching. But it was I used to get very choked up about that. And that's what that trip did to me. It got a little emotional there because of the impact that had on me that night. And, that was the first only time I'd ever experienced with it. And I would like to try it again, maybe not as much, and just in the importance of this. And I would, then I started watching more podcasts and doing more research on the topics. And I would love to just say, every cop needs to go do a mushroom trip, man. Every cop needs to just that ego death.